Hey, what's up, guys? James, are you able to share it in BBR?
I am on it right now.
Perfect. Can you pull up Facebook and just make sure it's live in BBR?
I am looking in Salon. Hang on a second. Gotta love new technology, kids.
Right. Hey, everybody, just
Love
hang,
technology.
hang in there 1 second. We're just getting all this stuff rolling.
Oh, here we go. Let's see. Oh, here. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I'm in here. All right. So I'm trying.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, looks
Yes,
you got the vest on, a little chilly there.
slightly. And
And
and it's
James has the beanie on, so I don't know. It must be really cold up there.
You know, I have to tell you, I have a training class tomorrow that's already been scheduled for months, and I like to wait until like the day before to get my hair cut, and the stupid snow. I forgot my wife's scissors at the salon and dealing with all of that nonsense. So I don't know. I might just stick it straight up tomorrow, Andrew. Like let's
yeah, well,
go for a little Edward Scissorhands while we're
Edward,
at it.
why not? Why not?
Beautiful.
I'll tell you though, this
So,
place
James, are we live in BBR or no?
No, so it's in the other group. It's not letting me
See that?
share.
What the hell is going on with BBR? Andrew, can you share the BBR?
can I share the BBR?
James,
Oh,
so what is the button to
ah,
do that? Add
well,
source down at the
play
bottom,
local
correct?
videos, settings, screen share.
Let's see.
Hmm.
It gives me a share, but only. Let's see. Share window. I'm looking. Uh, actually, let me see if I can do. Some of
I'm
these
in. A
are in.
Facebook user said they're in.
Yeah, but I don't know. Is BBR showing? Let me jump in. Let me check BBR. Hold on. It's I love when it shows you you're not live. Oh, it is live in BBR. Not a problem. Okay, so
Okay,
guys, it is
beautiful.
running. It's just not showing us on our end, but it is running live in BBR. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to tonight's BBR, BBR number three, 2020. Again, just post up your comments inside of the Facebook page, and we can monitor them as they go. Make sure you post up your name because our new platform doesn't show the name of the people that are commenting, but it is kind of cool that it shows from all the groups, including YouTube, that are posting at the same time. So it's a new platform we're using. So very excited to have everybody on. Yeah, we got a lot of people joining already, so that's cool. Very cool. We'll just give it a couple minutes and then we'll get started on tonight's lesson. I love the picture you posted up, James. Little Bruce Willis, bloodied, bloodied all up. Very nice.
Well, so everybody, this
Dangerously.
is Die Hard Part One. We did our first few intros for the new year, and what we wanted to do was sort of hone in on some things, little shorter videos of what we're doing, and talk about some of the interesting things that are going on, just to keep it honed in on what we're doing. So tonight, what are we talking about tonight, Derek? Pricing?
So we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about pricing, how to price out your salon services, and the second thing is we're going to start on how to develop your payroll systems. So that's a whole in-depth conversation. James and I and Andrew, I'm sure you've been watching the boards, and there's a whole to do. And we just had a conversation over people tend. Matter of fact, our good friend Anthony Whitaker sent me a message and a phone call the other day saying, "Hey, what the hell is all this stuff with 1099s in the United States?" And I said, "What do you mean 1099s? There's no such thing." So he said, "What do you mean there's no such thing?" Well, he said, all these salons in the United States are doing 1099. And I said, well, guess what? If the IRS audits them, they're in a lot of trouble. We'll get into that in a whole different conversation because there is no such thing as a 1099 in the salon industry unless you're hiring somebody that has a completely different service than what you do in your salon or spa. That's the end of the conversation. If you're doing it, guys, you're illegal. Get your shit together. It's what ruins our industry, and it just means you don't feel like paying taxes. So, but tonight's topic is how to develop your pricing systems. A big one,
And
right?
just remember, they want to hire all these IRS people, right? You know.
Yeah. How much
Yeah.
did they say? It was like a ridiculous amount of people, wasn't it? Like
100,
50,000 or something?
yeah, more than
whatever,
50,000.
yeah, whatever it was.
150,000, right?
So, guys, they're going to be up your ass from every angle, and they're not going to go after the rich people. They're going to go after the blue collar people that have businesses. So you better get your stuff on point.
Hey, don't give me any ideas, man. I might have to go apply for one of those jobs and just go after the salon.
Oh, you'd be accepted.
Plenty of low-hanging fruit.
There you go. Expert.
You know how it goes with government jobs, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like the stop sign at the end of my block. Every time I see my mayor, I'm like, listen, just give me like a deputy's badge. I'll sit here all day long and I'll police the people that run the stop sign. All I want, don't even pay me. I just want 10% on what I bring in.
Yeah, so people are posting up already on pricing, charge what you're worth. Absolutely. That is one thing. But if we want to get down to technical details, right? Now I'm going to give a brief overview. I'll give you some technical stuff after this, but if we're breaking it down, 99% of salons are not charging. I don't want to use the term what they're worth, but they're not charging what they need to charge based on their numbers, right? So this year's theory or topic is back to basics, right? So we need to know our numbers. And the numbers are what drives what you should charge, not fear, right? The biggest one is fear. Everybody says, oh, well, my competitor is charging this. I'm going to charge less and I'm going to bring in more clientele. So pricing below based on your competition is always something called chase yourself to the bottom, and it will put you out of business.
Derek, if I just may say something, your competitors can charge whatever they want, but it doesn't matter because you don't have access to your competitors' P&Ls, balance sheets, and cash flow. Okay, so yes, we have to take. I'm not saying disregard it. There is that aspect, but you have to do what you have to do to make a buck and keep your salon growing. That's the bottom line. And don't.
Yeah, but Andrew, we talked about that last week, Andrew. That when we did an analysis and we looked at what I would consider peer salons, right, in our area, not necessarily the person up the block, but ones that I thought that had similar educational backgrounds or whatever. And there were certain services that they were more money, and we have a lock on our P&L and we have our pricing down to exactly where it needs to be. So don't be surprised sometimes. Listen, if there's a Supercuts up the block that's charging $15 a haircut, that's not your competitor. That's not your peer. They provide a completely different service. So don't be misled sometimes too when you look at your marketplace. Look to people that you feel are simpatico for what you do.
But
so
Andrew, clients aren't leaving because of price.
They aren't. It's the experience. It's about who you are, what's your unique selling point, USP, right? I talk about that a lot. So to differentiate yourself, if you want to charge more than your competition, you have to know who you are and why you're unique. Okay, James' salon is unique. Why are you unique, James? So tell us.
I have no idea, actually.
Because you're at the front. At the front, James. That's it.
Truthfully, not even that. We're just, we're firm. We've always been firm believers in education, regardless of allergies and sensitivities and things that we may do because of our products and ingredients. But really, foundationally, our staff they're salon ninjas, right?
Yeah, but you also said the key point, right? So in all your advertising is that you are an organic salon. That's what sets you apart, right?
It's
So
the
so
initial interest, but I
yeah,
have to be honest
exactly,
with you.
exactly.
That's the thing is you could have the best smelling shampoo on the planet in your salon, and who cares what the price point is if your staff isn't educated, right? So I always preach sustainability from the green side, but if your staff isn't educated, especially with these last 2 years, right? Virtual education for the salon industry has been great, but it is not what the creatives usually like to see. They like hands-on. They don't even really love doll heads, but they'll deal with it if they have to. So you take uneducated salons or salons that didn't do education pre-COVID, bring them into this new universe, and your staff is bored, your clients are bored. There's nothing new going on. Listen, our bread and butter are single process ladies that need gray coverage. They don't care about foliage, balayage, baby lights, whatever you want to call the new same thing. They're not as concerned, but they will ask you. And if you don't know what it is, they don't know what it is either. But if you don't have a way to kind of tell them, hey, this is what it is, and this is what it's supposed to do, and this is who it's for, they look at you like you're uneducated. And when you want to charge $100 a haircut, I don't know. You better be ready to give them something about symmetry, something about the occipital bone. You better be able to throw a big word in there because otherwise they're not going to trust you. And it's all about trust. Listen, they go to you for their daughter's wedding, their baptisms, their communions, their bat mitzvahs, their bar mitzvahs. They go to you as their trusted advisor. And I feel like that's the one thing that's happened for the salon industry through this last 2 years is that you didn't realize that. You look at that Steinbeck quote, right, that we put up almost 2 years ago, Derek and Andrew. We put I spent the time while I was sitting here doing nothing, not even collecting unemployment. Might as well edit a video. But you look at that, and if you're not that advisor for them, you sort of fall in that same realm of whether it's their rabbi, their priest, their doctor, and they tell you all of these things. Well, if you don't have the expertise to be able to do that, not even the psychological aspect, right? I know more hairstylists that would be better psychologists, and I feel bad because they said, "Wow, you cut a pretty good head of hair, but man, if you were a shrink, you would be loaded right now." You know, um, but you need that trusted expertise, and it's not only knowing what to do on the client, it's knowing what not to do on the client. It's knowing what product is not right for the client. The texturizing serum comes out and it's a new thing and it smells great and it's funky. You put that in the wrong client's head, and it's like you're going to have to wash your hair with palm olive now for the next 3 weeks to get that out. So you want to make sure that you're an expert on all levels.
So James, so that's setting yourself apart, right? Who you are as a salon or an owner. Um, and the issue I see often, and you and I talked about it earlier in the groups, is people are like, "Hey, how do I charge?" Right? So what I'm going to tell you, and again, this year's theme is back to basics, right? And Andrew's way more experienced than has way more experience in this than I, but I would say, again, getting back to basics, know your numbers, okay? And I have a lesson in here we'll go through very quickly. I don't want to bore you to death with numbers, but you need to know what your cost per hour is to run your salon, right? Once you know what your cost per hour is, a simple formula, okay, we'll give you some other really detailed formulas with all the percentages and how you should charge. I'm going to share a sheet with that. But a simple formula is whatever your cost is times it times three, the rule of three. Okay, a third is cost, a third for paying people, and a third in your pocket. Okay, so if your cost is $25 an hour per your service, that's why you need to know what your hourly cost is to operate, and then you take your services. And I'm just breaking this down into simple stuff. You take your services. If a single process takes you an hour, then you know what your price is based on your hourly cost, right? So that is your cost. Then you take it and times it times three. That should be the price that you're charging. Okay.
And
Don't
Derek,
price on fear. 99% of salons price on fear. And what I mean by that is they look at what their competitors are doing and not their numbers, and they price on that without even looking at their numbers. Your numbers are the most important thing to look at. Okay. And that means, what does it cost me to run my salon plus payroll per hour per chair? So if you don't know those numbers, any of us here, or Nikki, there's probably 10 coaches in here that can coach. Kaylee, they can all coach you through that and say, okay, based on that, this is what you should be charging. But a simple mathematical formula is, this is my cost per hour with labor and all my other stuff, my rent, all those other things, and then takes times that hour, do it times 3, and that should be your cost of your service. Okay. Now you could, it's a little more detailed than that, but I'm making it simple for those that don't want to look at spreadsheets or any of the other stuff. Andrew, James.
No, Andrew being in New York, you and I have talked about this before. Tell him your theory on it, Andrew.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Well,
I have a
so
little.
Andrew and I have discussed New York City is an interesting animal. So,
Yeah.
You could have a really good location, you could have really good rent, you could go in and analyze your numbers. And sometimes you have to look at your competitors' pricing, because we have a friend that's in Tribeca that when he opened, he got a good place. It was, it's a rental type of place for the chairs because New York can do that. And he said, "Oh, I think I can price haircuts at, say, $100 a head, and I'd still be able to make money. The people would make money, and everything is good as a base." And because of Tribeca and the area it was in, people would come in and look at the service menu and say, "Oh, $100 a haircut, they must suck," right? They would walk out and they wouldn't book because they thought that they were like the supercuts
James,
of
I have to jump in here. So knowing your numbers, right, and knowing that triple three, right, the times 3, that's the base of what you should be charging. Now, if you have a unique selling point and you can push that for more money, or the area dictates more money, then by all means charge more, looking at your competitors or any of that stuff. Most of the salons in the United States, though, they're not in that situation, right? So they chase each other to the bottom instead of looking at their numbers. An area like New York City, depending on the area in New York, it's a whole different animal. You need to know what your numbers are and what your base is for that triple. And then if you can add on to it, then God bless you. You say, here is our unique selling point, and we're going to do this because of X, and we can get this because of our area and because extra service.
I like it. What do you say, Andrew?
Derek, you have spreadsheets that will help our people actually create their own system here, right?
Oh, of course we do, but
Mhm.
but what I want everybody to know in their own mind is, don't chase yourself to the bottom. Okay, if your area dictates a higher price than you're charging, maybe you have something wrong, right? You should look at it and say, here's my numbers, here's what it cost me an hour, and then times it times the 3. And if you're still under what your competitors are charging, then find out why you should be above your competitors or equal to them based on your unique selling point, USP.
Yeah, I've run, take New York City. Now, I ran a number of places in New York City simultaneously. Each one of these places had a uniqueness to them. Okay. And based upon that uniqueness, and based upon the strategy of position in New York City, you have, when you go upstairs in a building, you pay much less rent than if you were street level, right? Street level, someone's not going to walk in for, let's just say, $100 a haircut, but would they walk in for, $29? Yeah, a lot of them do. So, but we're looking, it's horses for courses. Be who you are and then charge accordingly. Really, really, really important.
Well, it's also when Derek puts the spreadsheets up in the group, guys, the numbers can be worked. You have to analyze it, right? And I know our creative friends in the salon industry, you're so analytical about a color and troubleshooting and a haircut and things that you do, is you need to look at your business the same way. That if you look at it, so it's common and we see it a lot, and we've seen it so much lately where a stylist that's booked wants to make more money. So why aren't you talking about raising prices instead of raising what you pay them? Because those percentages, that 33 and a third percent, right? One half is the operational expense of the business. One third is the marketing and the profit, and one third is going to be their pay, right? Because there's payroll taxes. There's a lot of other things that go into that. That the analysis needs to be a little bit more in depth than that, where you can go in and say, great, if listen, you can raise anybody's prices if they're that good and they have the skill, but at the same time, you need to analyze that as part of your cost. So there's multiple things to take a look at. None of them are hard, right? Your hard costs are your hard costs. You're not going to change your rent. The only thing I can tell you about your rent is it's going to go up, right? There's not much you can do about that. There's every other fee. Everybody's complaining about the cost of gloves and things like that are happening. They're only going to go up from there. I mean, I know there's a little supply chain related issues going on now, but did you think gloves were going to stay at $9.99 forever, or were they always going to eventually go up? Like, there's no new thing. I'm just, listen, our true and tried fans that had gone in, and a lot of you raised prices a second time, one to compensate for the initial C word craziness, and then one obviously for 2 years in. Prices go up. It is what it is.
So on top of that, once you develop your initial prices, James, what I would suggest to everybody is every January or whatever period you pick is you do a CPI, right? Which basically means consumer price index. What have prices gone up as an average every year? And you could just go anywhere, just type that in, consumer price index increase, and it will tell you what the percentage is. That is the very least you should be increasing your prices by every year. It's usually 3.5%, 4%. This year, maybe 7%, they're saying. So that is something you need to keep in mind. I had a call today. Should I raise my prices? I haven't raised them in a year. Oh, really? Like, it makes my head explode. Yet they'll go to a gas station, and the gas station will pay $1 more a gallon and not even flinch at it because it's a necessity. Well, hair is a necessity, right? So raise your prices accordingly based on that. But if you don't have your initial foundation of what my prices should be based on my cost of operations plus my profit built into that, that's where you need to start. Andrew, I see you over there. You're bright. It's
Yeah,
like
no, and when you do your analysis, all I want to say is when you do your analysis and your prices are at one level and the analysis shows another level, you got to figure out how to get it there. It's not like, oh my God, it's saying $100 a haircut and I'm at 60. What do I do? I mean, there's a strategy for doing that, and that's
100%. 100%. So we've done a course on this. I'm going to share with everybody. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to just quickly shoot up my screen on a couple things here. Bear with me, everybody. So let me just find this on here. Let's see, Word, and that's open. And we go over here.
And while Derek's trying to get that open, for you guys that don't have or aren't on Andrew's emails that he does, and I know it may seem that he's not handwriting them, but I know he tirelessly works on writing these emails and does a great job. His last email had a really good point about the service aspect of what we do, or an experience his wife had with a doctor's appointment in the front desk, which was it was very, listen, you were close to a comedy routine there, Andrew. It was good.
James, the day I sent it out, we got the fourth call.
Oh my God, it's so crazy. But those are the things that you guys have to realize too, is that those are your standout. There's such low-hanging fruit now. Over the last 2 years, people expected curbside and crazy and gloves and wiping down your oranges 2 years ago to now. And it hasn't gotten any better in terms of finding quality help and people that can facilitate even booking an appointment, as Andrew so eloquently posted in his email. So it's a really easy time for you to be a standout. So it's like, I feel like every time we get into a new year or a new quarter, use it to your advantage. Like, change up the way you do it. You still have this grace period of saying to your clients, hey, we're going to do this different because we felt like we weren't giving you the best service we could, or we weren't doing the best we could. And guess what? If you tell them, hey, we're going to have a service increase. Wait, what do you mean? Well, we raised our prices twice already, so we're not going to have a price increase. We're just going to do a really good job, and we're going to increase what you're used to getting. Wait, what? So you're not going to charge me more? You're just going to give me more? Oh yeah. If we're gonna do something better, we're gonna give you a full consultation, and we're actually gonna put the retail products in a bag for you that you can take home with you if you want, like something.
So it's funny the way the industry has gone, and how salons and salon owners are afraid of charging their worth, and that's sad. That's sad. And then there's a big thing behind that, of all these little salons, or salons not knowing how to run their business, chasing themselves to the bottom, we'll call it, right? But if you are positioned to have that unique selling point and know who you are, what your brand is, charge your worth, that's the important thing. Keep on top of your numbers on a regular basis, at least monthly. You should be looking at your numbers at the very least. Andrew, right?
Absolutely. Start with monthly and then get into the rhythm. Okay.
Exactly. You can get crazy, and myself, I knew down to the minute what it cost me to run the salon. Okay. Now, most services can be based on an hourly price, breaking down all your costs to an hourly price, or an hourly cost, because once you know that, most services you're booking on an hourly basis, or a half hour basis, in some cases 15-minute basis, whatever it is. So it's easy to break that down and figure out your costs. If you want to go really crazy, you can go down to the minute for those services to know what it is. But in here, I just shared an article that Andrew and I wrote long ago. I wrote it. Andrew proofread it to make sure I wasn't a knucklehead. In here, I'll share this with everybody afterwards. But basically,
it's called edit.
Yeah, it's called. Well, no, it's called "Some Feel Guilty for Charging More," and this is tonight's. This is what it's about tonight. Get rid of that. Why do you feel guilty about charging more? Why? Who are you, and what is your why? Right? We can get a Simon, whatever his name is, right? Cynic or whatever his name is, all that stuff. But who's your why, right? But honestly, it comes down to numbers. Okay. Who are you? Why do you charge what you charge? And what's your unique selling point? Okay. If you are one of those owners chasing it to the bottom, drop it today and start anew. Because I promise you, if you're doing that, you will go out of business eventually. Because there's some idiot who has a bankroll or borrowed money from the government who's going to chase it, and you're going to chase it with them, and you're not going to have the money to support it. James, Andrew, chime in. I feel like I'm like the lone ship tonight. So
no, guys, with the new format we're trying, when you guys comment on something, it just comes up as a Facebook user. So I promise this is going to be beneficial for us. We're working on the kinks too. We don't want to practice too much without bringing you guys some content. So somebody had posted, Derek, and said, are we talking expenses divided by 40 hours a week?
No. And I see these, James, coming up right now. So it's not by 40 hours a week. It's how many hours you are open a month. It's very easy to figure that out, right? So you can go through your hours a month, and that's where you break it down to an hourly, because there's no 40 hours a week. There isn't.
Somebody posted, Statland said it. You saw that? Everybody always wants to out my boy Steven.
That's okay. So no, but that's funny. But honestly, it comes down to how many hours are you open a month? That's how you're going to break things down. Okay. Every salon's different to their monthly hours open. Okay. You can get really deep dive in how many chair hours do you have a month, right? So in other words, taking all the stylists and saying what each stylist works a month, and that's your actual hours. That's even better than how many hours you're open.
Derek, let's keep it simple. Just
Yeah.
first
So,
step. First
yeah. So
step.
simple formula is how many hours are you open a month? Okay. That's how you're going to break down your hourly cost. You can obviously deep dive into it 100 times better than that, but that's a good start, which most owners don't do. Nobody is open just 40 hours a week. Boom, that's easy, right? Because the average stylist works 30 hours a week right now, maybe 35. So, open your get your salon hours. The easiest way is I'm open, say 160 hours a week, whatever it is, and then break it down by your costs per month. Your costs per month are very easily done. It's just all your expenses, your payroll, everything, and break it into the hours you're open, divide it up. That's your hard cost of what it costs you to operate a month.
But and somebody just posted, same thing. I don't know who did it, but they just said, what's the next piece after expenses? But that's the reason why you guys are putting this into the 33 to third percent pocket, right? You want to keep your payroll into a certain spot. You want to keep your hard expenses, things that you can't control. Inventory, color that you order, all that stuff is controllable based on services and storage. Statland said it again. Statland, I got to tell you, man, I feel like you
No,
you kind of
that
meandered
was
on all
pretty
these
funny.
last 50
Look,
calls.
that's pretty funny, right? But and it's not, right? Once you have that number, what is next? Okay. It's very simple. I gave you a simple formula. Times it times 3. That should be your cost of a service. Okay. If that number is below what your competitors are charging, then figure out your unique selling point and why you should charge at least what your competitors are charging or more. That is your base cost. All we're dealing with is base costs here to keep you in business. Anything more than that is gravy, right? And I always tell God bless you if you can get more above those numbers, because that is going to put money in your pocket every day, every week. Same thing as if you cut a percentage off of each one of the categories of expenditures, back bar, payroll, all the cut 1% off of the whole pie chart, like we talked about last week. That's more money in your pocket. You cut 10% a month, you can't believe the amount of money it is in your pocket at the end of the year.
Well, and also too, right, when you look at the amount of hours that the salon is open on the door, you know what the rent is. So you can basically say, hey, listen, if you're 9 to 5, 5 days a week, whatever it is, that third of the operational side of things you cannot control. Water usage. I mean, listen, we're in Jersey. I don't know how it is in other states. Water usage is pretty cheap, considering. I can't believe it. Maybe because we're drinking chemicals here in Jersey, Andrew. I don't know, but they're giving us a stipend just in case we throw a third
Exactly.
eye. But electricity. Yes, things will draw more electricity, but if you're open 40 hours a week, the lights have to be on whether you like it or not. So that cost. If you have parking lot lights, if there's cam fees, the rent, all those things, they're a set fee. So if you open more hours, that's great. That's another way to lower your expenditures. But if you said, hey, on the door, we're open 40 hours a week, you take those hard expenses and divide them. It does not matter because you are responsible for that money, whether there's a client, whether there's no clients, whether you have a line around the building, none of it makes a difference. And those are hard costs. Those are things that are there. That's not your marketing budget. Your software doesn't change, whether you use Rosie, Forest, Mevo, whatever the monthly fee is. If you see one client a month or you see 1,000 clients a week, it does not make a difference. The cost doesn't change. So you really need to know those costs so you can bury those in and say, these are going to be standardized, and then sort of work from there. It's like, listen, I only do this. So I give you guys that actually cut hair and you're behind the chair, I give you guys so much more credit than what I do. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night. And this is the stuff that I look at. So like you ask me numbers and I'm like, I know exactly what our numbers are.
James, so can you see my screen? I'm sharing my screen. James, read this first paragraph. That's all we need to. I'll go into the numbers afterwards. I want you to read the first paragraph and see what stands out in your mind. Can you see it?
I'm reading.
Or you need me to blow it up for your old ass?
You never know. Well, my favorite part is the last line. And this is something that you guys should have been thinking about all during COVID, is that sometimes it's better to get rid of a client that's a lower price to make room for a higher paying one. You raise your prices 20%, you lose X amount of clients. I know it's sad because of that relationship that you have with them, but everybody's talking about, I don't even want to say the autonomy word, Stephanie Fox. But you talk about autonomy, you talk about lifestyle, you talk about things that usually people in our types of service industries, restaurants, were a little different. Hair salons, I always thought were at the higher level of it, about being able to do things that you were so boxed in that, hey, these are my hours, these are the hours that I work. I think that COVID trained us as better salons to say, hey, you know what? I don't have to work. I don't have to miss my kids' recital because Mary needs to come in for her standing blowout every Friday at 12 o'clock. Mary can move or Mary can leave. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, there's only our time on this planet is short.
So James, so the actual figure on that, and you picked out something I'm very, very tuned into, is that don't be afraid to divorce a bad client when you raise prices, right? So the percentage on that is less than 1%. So in other words, for every 100 clients you have, if you raise prices, less than one client will drop off. That is the figure. So
and that's amazing. That's amazing.
Exactly.
Right?
Think about that, folks, right? Think about that. And it's usually that pain in the ass client that you didn't want in the first place anyway. It's Sally who every week goes, oh, this is too expensive. Get the F out of my salon so I can charge somebody else $300 and they're happy with the service. So, get rid of the Karens, and anybody that's Karen in the group, don't take that offensively. But get rid of the Karens and make room for clients who don't complain about how great your service is.
True.
Because 1%, I mean, think about that, folks. That is the drop-off rate. It's incredible. So if you raise your prices, say 10 to 15%, and you lose 1%, you just made 14% more revenue. I hope that's sinking in and everybody's going, yay, amen. They realize it. Work smarter, not harder. I kind of don't like that term because I always believe in work harder all the time, because while you're working smarter and harder at the same time, it doesn't give you the chance to be lazy, right? Some people say work smarter, work than harder, and they think that, oh, okay, that means I can be smart but lazy at the same time. Don't use that as a crutch. Work smarter, continue to work harder, and you will crush the competition.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So this is obviously some food.
There you go. Someone said, raise my prices, and the pain, the pitas won't go.
Pitas.
Well, they come
Exactly.
along and you now have better gross margin. Okay.
Raise them again.
Fine.
So just saying. So guys and girls, we have this pricing formula. I'm just going to go through it. I'm not going to get into all the details. I will share this sheet after the lesson, but basically it's showing you how to develop your cost. It has formulas in here. ABC spells it out in real life how to do it. Okay. And I want everybody to do this, break it down. But if you want to do it in a simple way, is just figure out your hourly cost and times it times 3, and that's what you should be charging. Okay. So we have a detailed formula in here. Again, I'm not going to crush it with all these numbers because you get bored to shit. But this is the way you develop it. Okay. And I'm going to share this out to everybody.
All right, so let's share it out. What's part 2? I mean, we might have to do Die Hard part. I don't know how many actual Die Hards there
Yeah.
were.
So the next one, James, is the next lesson is going to get into how to pay your operators, because this is like probably my biggest pet peeve, especially hearing that James and I had a conversation the other day that there are probably 50% of salons in New Jersey considering their employees 1099, which is ruining our industry and drives me effing ballistic. So if anybody's on here and you're paying 1099, I may jump on a conversation, and it wouldn't be a pleasant conversation because you are killing the industry. And here's why. If you're paying 1099, there is no such thing as 1099 in the salon industry unless you're hiring somebody that does a completely different service from outside your salon. Okay. If you're a 1099, given that you're just cheating taxes, and I promise you, because I've been through this and I'm telling you this from experience, you will get audited, especially since the IRS is now ramping everything up. When you do, you're going to owe all those back taxes. You're going to owe your own taxes, and you're going to end up going out of business. So that is not a threat. That is a promise. Straighten your shit out. Get your payroll systems right. We'll talk about that next week.
Love it, guys. Love it. Hey, listen, always good to see your smiling faces. And I got to tell you, Andrew, moving to Detroit, I never thought, don't drink the water there.
Oh,
but
my God.
Yeah, no hat. I could see your beautiful blue eyes. Your background is very, it's
Andrew,
moody,
did you wear a
but
hat to
intriguing.
Cindy's today? Andrew did a class at Cindy's salon, Catherine Drew, today. How did that go, Andrew?
It went great. They're a wonderful group of people. Cindy is an incredible leader.
Awesome.
And she really, this is, I'll tell you, Cindy, I know Cindy's not here tonight. She's at
Surprisingly,
she's at a Gordon Lightfoot concert. But Cindy,
it was another event, but that's okay, Gordon.
That's okay. Hey, could see you next week. Can't see him. She's an amazing leader who comes from a place of service for her people. And if everyone, every hairstylist, hairdresser, whatever you want to call yourself, but comes from a place of real service, you'd be just fine. And it was a great time, and we didn't talk hair, we talked about high performance. That's awesome. Near and dear to my heart, and how they can become high performers, which is another topic for another day. But the good start, if everyone here wants to become a high performer, do what Derek is suggesting.
Yeah, everybody that if this is your first time, I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm passionate about some things, especially fixing the industry. So payroll is a big thing for me, for owners that are not paying according to the law. And of course, we would all like to pay less taxes. I'm the first one. Like, I would love to move my company to Puerto Rico and pay no United States taxes, right? But reality is, people that are doing that are going to get caught. But plus, they're making harder for legitimate owners, because a legitimate owner knows that if I pay 50%, I need to pay 15% in taxes. So in reality, I'm only paying 35%. Now you get these people who are paying 1099 to say, yeah, I'll give you 50 or 60%. Well, that's great because they're not paying taxes. But when they get hit with taxes, not only will they get hit, but the employee that they're not paying taxes on will get hit for their portion. So very passionate about that. I know James is very involved in it in New Jersey. We need to fix this in the industry. And folks, if you are a suite renter, if you are an owner, doesn't matter what you are. And I'm not, believe me, I'm like so anti-tax, you can't believe, but you have to pay taxes. So do what you have to do to be legal and not screw your employees or screw yourself going forward.
I love it. I love it.
It's funny, when I pulled up into the parking lot today at Cindy's place, I pulled up next to a car, and I looked over at the car, and it had the name. There was the name of Cindy's Salon on it, and we do waxing, haircuts, and all that stuff. So I went in and I said, Cindy, love your car. It's beautiful. She said, my accountant loves my car too. So, there are things that you can do that are legitimate.
buy a Range Rover, put a sign on it. A Range Rover is over 6,000 pounds, full write-off in the first year. Save
There
you
you
a
go.
boatload of taxes. So, anyway,
I love it. All right,
group.
so listen, next
Yeah,
Monday,
let's get some questions in.
we're
James, we have any questions?
well, of course, Statland keeps loving to throw things up there. You never saw Steve's chop chop bang bang car, did you, Andrew?
No.
Okay. Yeah, but it's awesome, and he just pulled the wrap off. But Dylan is making a website for Salon Ninja for him, and I gotta be honest with you, it's a pretty freaking cool website with his car and the colors and everything.
It's a 2010 Challenger.
Was that what it was?
It's definitely a cool car.
That's a sweet car. Yeah.
It is. And it's funny, the first time I saw it, so before we go, I'll give you a fun story. So COVID, crazy, everything's happening. We're trying to source stuff. I'm always infamous, and Derek knows I always have a guy. What do you need? I have a guy. Whatever. So our friend Statland, Christine Zielinski over in Red Bank, and Patty Mead, another one of our friends. We have an outdoor meetup in like a parking garage. I mean, listen, it wasn't in a shady town. It was in Westfield, New Jersey. So anybody from Westfield knows that you really can't get a more highbrow type of town. It's like, Upper Montclair, Westfield, they fit that profile. So we had to have like an outdoor meetup in a parking garage to hand off.
Isn't that where Minority is?
A little outside of that, but so we're like doing a hand sanitizer unit handoff from the trunk of cars, like a drug deal.
Pretty funny.
It is really funny. But I'm looking forward to next week. I think there's some, there's some really good information. I know you guys talking about this, the Venmo and the 1099s, but man, I don't know. Listen, we're having an explosive growth of new members. So our original cast, right? Melrose Place, season 1, you guys are awesome. You guys have been down this road. So we definitely appreciate some of the comments that you guys put in to temper down things that may just not be great business practices, because you guys have been rock stars at that. It helps us with policing things that I don't think anybody is doing anything in a bad way. I just don't think they know. And so you guys, our old school, the OG crew, you guys are rock stars, and we love you guys.
Very nice talking to everybody tonight. Next week, we're going to be talking about payroll systems. We're going to be very passionate about that. It's from looking at the groups, it is something I am furious about and excited about at the same time, because I cannot stand what some people are doing, yet others have it dead on as to what they should be doing. And there's some things that people don't consider. And what I'm talking about by that is, where do you go after you cap out, right? Because there is a cap to what you can pay people. But how do you keep somebody as an employee or help them expand their career? And we'll talk a little bit about that also. So.
Love it. Gents, always good to see your smiling faces. Can't wait for next week. Hey, we might have to wear red, because I don't know. Wait
a minute, James. Hold on. I'll take over for Andrew. There we go.
There you go.
That's my pirate hat, by the way.
What a handsome dude. What a handsome dude.
Well, Andrew, I'm kind of like, where's Andrew's hat?
I'm bringing it next week.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna have to find a new one. I think I need a haircut.
Actually, I'm gonna prepare my LA hat.
Mine has a reverse also. See that?
There you go.
But it's funny here in Detroit. I don't know if anyone saw the football games. Yes. Did you see the football game yesterday? That LA's going to the Super Bowl, but Stafford was the guy, who led them there. And here in Detroit, everyone's going crazy for the LA Rams. They love it.
It's pretty funny.
James, I gotta say, with that hair, holy
James,
hell,
what happened?
I didn't realize it was that long.
Oh my God. It's very cool though.
Might be a new thing.
Cool. I think you should keep it like that and start a rock band.
I'm gonna have to go into coiffure like this and see if they
Exactly.
can. Our pal Stephen Moody, we got to get him on. He's starting his own education thing. I might have to
Beautiful.
be
Beautiful.
a model, except he likes to duct tape his models' mouths so they don't talk because he just wants to, chat about all the haircut stuff. I don't know if I can handle it, but
Crazy.
Beautiful. So good night, everybody. Thank you for showing up tonight, and we will see you next week on the BBR.
good night, guys. See you next week.